Hello, Husker fans, and welcome back to Coffee with Husker Big Red. It is Saturday morning, and I am back here, and we're streaming across all of our social media channels. I'm Chris Peterson, and joining me, as always, is Danny Gillette. And yeah, we've got quite a bit to talk about with Nebraska athletics, the defensive coordinator search, Emmett Johnson moving on to the NFL draft, the Nebraska volleyball team getting a win last night, Creighton coming up this weekend. So lots of things happening in the Nebraska sports universe, and we're here to chat with them all. So thanks for everybody who will be joining us on YouTube and on Facebook. If you haven't already, please do us a big favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And yeah, Danny, how are you on this Saturday morning?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. A lot of news even in December, leading up to the bowl game, and you think maybe there's a time where we have no news, but that is not the case.
Yeah, good morning, James. Good to see you back again. And
Hey,
good
so
morning, Co. Good to see everybody back here. I know the chat in the game last Friday didn't go necessarily like we thought that it would, but that's okay. A lot of things have happened since then. It's been not a sea change of Nebraska football, but definitely some changes. John Butler getting fired on
that
Monday.
was last week.
Yeah, signing day. Coming and going on Wednesday, and you had a lot of debate about the recruiting class among Nebraska fans, so
Yeah.
that was kind of interesting. Um, and yeah, now we're going into this DC search. So I guess let's start there, unless anybody else has another topic they want to discuss. Vince Carras, I believe, is how we're going to pronounce the name here. Vince Carras from Toledo is in town this weekend to interview with Matt Rule, and he's a really interesting candidate. You look at
Hmm.
this guy. Basically, he's been a head coach. He's coached defensive line for a long time. You look at his resume, and he's kind of done it all. He's not the one thing I would say is that he doesn't have like the proven resume at a major power, at a Power Four school, a Big Ten school, or an SEC school. But that doesn't always mean that he can't be successful at this level. He completely turned around Toledo's defense. He's a Broyles Award nominee this year. They've been in the bowl game every year he's been the head coach. Their run defense continues to get better. So I don't know. He seems like just a guy that knows how to coach football. And if you look at the things that Matt Rule was talking about, you know, getting players to play hard and kind of developing players and things like that, he seems like he would be a pretty good fit. And having another guy that's been a head coach formerly, I don't think is a bad thing to have on your staff.
Second in FBS in total defense last year with 240, almost 241 yards per game total at Toledo. First nationally in defensive passing efficiency with just over 94. Fifth in scoring defense with 13 points per game. Fifth in passing yards allowed with 148.7. So a lot to really like here about Carras, and I know people want the big name, but I mean, let's be honest here. Nebraska is not exactly an attractive destination for a big defensive coordinator name at this point. Um, Unfortunately, our play and where we sit in the Big Ten, honestly, has kind of boxed us into having to take more unproven candidates. Like, I don't think Jim Leonard's going to come here. He's at the Broncos right now, and he has a chance to elevate his profile in the NFL. Like, why would he come? Why would he come here right now? And I know, and I wanted, Jim Leonard would have been on my short list as well. But I think the reality is we're going to have to, I know the fans and us want a proven guy, but I think for, what this program is right now, that's very hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, I do think proven can mean a lot of different things, and I mean, because we look at John Butler's resume, and he never really, outside of 1 year with Penn State, just never really been a defensive coordinator. Um, so yeah, I think that there are some good candidates that Nebraska could get. I mean, I definitely think this is still a job that could springboard you to potentially a head coaching job. But yeah, I don't think Jim Leonard's going to leave. It sounds like there's been Parker Gabriel of the one of the Denver newspapers who covers the Broncos, used to cover Nebraska.
Yeah, I
He,
remember the name. Yeah.
yeah, he communicated. This is from Steve Sipple saying that Jim Leonard has no interest in coming back to college. So, which doesn't. I mean, if you can get to being an NFL defensive coordinator, like if you're really good at that, you're going to become a head coach. So, like that, that's probably the hope that he's wanting. And then the other thing is you don't have to recruit. Like you don't have to recruit. You don't have to deal with NIL. You just have to coach football. So I understand if he wants to stay in the NFL. And then the other thing was he also heard that Justin Wilcox was a no-go, which wasn't a surprise to me. I don't know why
No.
people have been pushing. Like, I just don't see him wanting to come here after being a head coach for so long. Like, maybe, I mean, look at Jeff Collins, another candidate. He took like 2 years away from coaching, and then he joined South Carolina's defensive staff this year. So he's still a guy on my short list, but I think Vince Karras would be a great fit. And, not like, sometimes you have to go take a chance on a coach who doesn't have, like, quite as big a resume. But like, when we talk about a proven guy, I mean, he's been doing this for 6 years now in Toledo. When he came there,
Yeah.
and this is what I think is impressive, because a good coach should be able to improve the situation, like, no matter what the talent is, because that's coaching, right? Like, a good coach can take a bad player and make him an average player, a good player, great player, you know what I mean? A superstar.
Yeah.
And that's not something we've seen in Nebraska. It's just flat out hasn't, especially, these past few years. And so you look at this team, when he took over in 2020, they had the worst defense in the MAC the year before he took over. And the first year they were second in the MAC in total defense after his first year. And then you look at his second season, they led the MAC in scoring defense. In 2021 and 2022, they led the MAC in total defense. In 2023, they led the conference in sacks. They had a first-round pick. I mean, he's had 4 guys drafted, 2.
Quinion Mitchell, right? If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
or no?
Yep. Yeah, Quinion Mitchell. Yep. And then they had another guy drafted, I think, last year. So they've had in the 3rd round. So he's had multiple guys get drafted. He's had 31 players earn all conference honors. And before that, like I said, 21 years at Mount Union. He had a 95-6 record as a head coach. He was part of, like, I don't even know how many, 12 of Mount Union's 13 national championships. He was part of it in some way. And I get that that's, D3 or whatever it is, Division 3, which is a whole different game. But football is still football. Right. Like, and so having somebody, and he coached defensive line through a lot of that. So I feel like, and I saw somebody that was like, I know it sounds crazy, but go hire a high school head coach, because, like, these guys sometimes do really know football at these smaller levels. And so, yeah, I feel like you're going to get a guy that's a true football guy, and somebody that probably is not going to be, I mean, sure, he probably wants to be a head coach again at some point, but I don't feel like he's going to be looking to jump ship in a year or two. And maybe this is the next guy that's a great defensive guru or something, so maybe Matt Rule's gonna, it's like, how do you get better as Nebraska, right? Like, you need to have like some X factors, whether it's like a great coach, or you need to like get lucky and find some great players. So maybe this can be their X factor, finding a great defensive coordinator that probably should have already been at a Power 4 school.
Right. And, it's interesting with the 4-2-5, kind of what that entails. They can switch, his defenses have switched between a 3-3-5 and a 4-2-5. A 4-2-5 basically allows the Sam linebacker to drop more in coverage and focuses on pressure off the edges. And getting pressure is one thing that his defenses have done very well. And it's something that Nebraska has struggled with. Last year, I believe they only had, 1 total turnover in the month of November. So, I mean, he can get, pressure on the quarterback, can design schemes to do that, and, can stop the run, which are all things that Nebraska needed desperately.
Yeah, so this year Toledo's given up 2.5 yards per carry rushing. Last year, 3.7, 4 yards in 2023. 3.8 in 2022, and 3 point. So yeah, I mean, only had 1 season where he's given up 4 yards per carry. And then look at how many seniors he's had on the defense this year, though. They finally got old and experienced. So yeah, I mean, they've been outstanding. And you look at, getting experience, and now they're, one of the best defenses in college football, and he's up for the Broyles Award. And I know it's like Toledo and all that, but I do think that Jason Candle's a really good coach, and they're giving up 12.2 points per game. So, I mean, that's, I'll take that.
And
I know that's going to be hard.
Got a head job at UConn, so.
Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah, since they.
So, I mean, it's a pretty good coaching tree, and I've actually always really liked Jason Candle. And I think the point that Coe was trying to make was that, the defense is better because of so many seniors. Well, I mean, he helped develop that group. And, I think that as much as some fans, I should say, want Matt Rule gone, barring an absolute disaster next year, I think he's going to be around for the long haul. So Karras will be allowed to develop those guys and the players coming in. Like I feel like a potential hire like this would match up well with the long-term vision of the program.
Yeah, for sure. And they played Kentucky this year and they only gave up 24 points. They lost that game 24-6. They did lose to Washington State 28-7. But still, I mean, for a lack of, you're not having the same talent level as those programs. So I feel like those aren't terrible results. And outside of that, they gave up 20 points two other times. And nobody scored more than 23 points or than Kentucky's 24, or no, Washington State's 28 was the most that anybody gave up this year. So I feel like, that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid coaching. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I do feel like it would be better to get this wrapped up, sooner rather than later. And maybe it would be, they went with Holgerson, the former head coach, and like I understand the appeal with that. And this guy's a former head coach too, but like, a Brent Pree or a Jeff Collins. But it does feel like if you get a guy like that, if they have a good year or two, they might just be looking to bounce for their next job. So, if you can get a guy that's going to be here more for the long haul, that might be better. I don't know. I don't know if that's a consideration at all. It's just kind of thinking out loud here, but
yeah,
it just seems like, Karras strikes me as a guy that's, I mean, yes, he could leave someday. I'm not saying that. And I wonder why Toledo's not like looking at him to be their next head coach. But anyway, he doesn't seem like somebody that already has like 1 foot out the door when he's arrived. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and quite honestly, they need guys that can help them win now because if, I say that Matt Rule's not going anywhere, but if they go 2-10 next year, then, things are going to get ugly. And so, I mean, I think he can help the program win now. Yeah, I think they can help the program win now as well as, give them an option to continue to build on their growth. And what I'll be interested to see is that if he is hired, and we don't know if he's going to be hired yet, if he keeps Addison Williams, whoever the defensive coordinator is, keeps Addison Williams, because Rule kind of, hinted that Williams was not going anywhere. So I'll be interested to see if that's actually the case.
Nebraska needs to get a DC before the transfer portal opens. I agree with that. Yeah, that's still not for like a few weeks. Isn't like January. I don't even know when it is. I know it's like the first week of January, which is stupid. Yeah. College football is the dumbest. We talked about this a little bit on Monday or maybe Wednesday, but it's like so dumb. It'd be like, if we want our New England Patriots, the best season they've had in like 5 years, and then we get to the playoffs and Mike Vrabel's gone because he's taking another job. Like, I feel really bad for Ole Miss and for Tulane and all these programs. Like, it's like multiple teams in the college football playoff aren't even going to have their head coach.
But I don't even want to hear about player loyalty. People, players are all about the money. Yeah, well, the coaches are too. So there's no loyalty either way. Might as well take the best job offer for both. And it sucks. I mean, this version of college football sucks, but you can't bitch about the players having no loyalty when the coaches have 1 foot out the door before they get ready for their, New Year's games. So I don't know.
100%. I'm with you on that one. They need, at some point, they need to take, just like a common sense look at this and say, hey, we can't have the off season in the same time as like when in what other sport does that happening? Do you have NBA free agency happening during the NBA finals? I mean, it's just ridiculous. So I don't know. And you hear more and more coaches talking about it. They need to move the calendar up. You can't be playing a championship game January 18th. Like, I understand it, but like there are real, when you talk about college, like classes start, like you've got there are real considerations that have to go into this. And somebody at some point needs to be the adult in the room and say like, hey, let's fix this system, but who knows if that's ever going to happen.
You lose so much momentum having a championship game on like January 20th, for example, because I believe the last game, like the last set of games was like New Year's. And then, you had to wait 2 weeks for the national championship game. It's like, damn, like the season's still going on. Like at that point, I love college football, but it's like I just lost like interest because I totally forgot the championship game was even on that Monday,
Yeah, like it can hold my interest if you do like the January 8th, and even that felt late to me, but at least it was like a week after like the New Year's, so it like kind of went right into it. It's so late. I mean, it's just like if I wasn't an Ohio State fan or like I didn't care that much last year, like I hate Ohio State, so I wanted them to lose, but like outside of that, I don't know that I would have really cared. You know what I mean? So I personally, my personal opinion, if anybody wants it, which they're going to get it, I guess, whether they like it or not, I think that they should. And I know everybody would hate this, but how cool would it be if we did Get rid of conference championship games. Go to a 24-team playoff. No more. You play 11 games, and you bring back co-championships, 2 non-conference games, no FCS games. Done with that. Just completely wipe those off the map. And then basically the weekend after Thanksgiving, that's when your playoff starts. And the top 8 teams get a first round bye. The next 8 teams get a home playoff game. And then you go to a 16-team playoff the next round. So the top 16 teams all get to host a game. Your quarterfinal round is at bowl games. Your semifinals at bowl games. Player championship and the Rose Bowl, January 1st, every single year, 3:00. Bam, fixed it.
The only thing I agree with is no conference championship games. The rest would be an absolute mess.
I mean, I don't think
about November. I mean,
late November, yeah.
So then you would have to push signing day, or you would still keep signing day.
No, the season would be done January 1st. The off season would start the next week. So you'd have signing day like January 4th, and the portal.
So no early signing day.
Nope. You'd be done with that. That would be done.
So then you can. Well, I guess you could still have the players come in. Yeah,
then you could have players come in for visits during playoff games.
Yeah,
you could open up that whole month for. I mean, that's how it used to be. I mean, players used to come in for bowl practices when they had signing day in February. Just make it, hell, move signing day back to February. I don't care. Make it January. I don't. They just need to have the season and the off season be separate. There's just no reason why they need to have those two things happening at the same time. So to me, like I know people, like I just feel like a 16-team playoff or 24-team, like just their schedules are so weird, and like to me, conference championships are basically meaningless now.
24 is too much.
Yeah, and I just feel like that would be, and there's too many games. There's too many games, and there's too many games that you go into it, and they just don't matter. Okay, like I get that, Nebraska, like the Nebraska's 3 non-conference games last year, next year an absolute joke. Like that's just, it's an insult to football fans. We shouldn't have to watch that crap. I mean, like I don't care about Nebraska playing Ohio, whoever they're playing. I don't even know who it is because I don't care. Like I'll watch the games, but they're just meaningless. I mean, I know that they count towards like bowl victories or whatever, but like I just don't think that
right now we need those. If there's anybody who shouldn't get rid of non-conference games, it's Nebraska.
I know. I mean, I understand it from that perspective, but I just think as a whole, I hate those games. Every college football team's like so afraid of having a losing record and not being able to go to some meaningless bowl games. So to me, like the best thing you can do to get rid of meaningless games, which to me are those, FCS versus I just hate those games. So that's just me. But
well, looking at the non-conference schedule for next season, and
I mean, I'm not saying you
being in North Dakota.
Yeah, that's a joke. I mean, I understand why they're doing it. There's no reason there is no motivation under the current system to play a tough game because, look at Miami.
Look at Miami. Yeah,
absolutely. It's ridiculous. I mean, I even agree with, I'm not saying that Texas should be in the playoff, but I do agree with what Steve Sarkisian is saying. Because if they don't schedule Ohio State in that game, they're 10-2, and they're sitting right there in the same conversation as everybody else. And the reason they're 9-3 is because they went and played the number 1 team in the country on the road and gave them by far their best game of the season. So, I get where he's coming from. Whereas next year, if I'm Texas, I'm canceling. They are playing Michigan in the future. I would cancel that game. What's the motivation for it? It's the same. Mm-hmm. Michigan honestly had the same, because if Michigan hadn't played Oklahoma this year, then they're going into the last week of the season 9-2, and if it's just a whole or 10-1, 10-1. So it's like, then they would have 0 loss. They would have 1 loss in the Big Ten. They would have been in the top 10 if they had not played Oklahoma. So the college football playoff rankings committee has given college football teams 0 incentive to play games that matter like early in the season. Yeah. So like, why do we even have those? Just quit. Just quit. Play make it a 9-game season. Like if we're going to have 3 guaranteed wins, like why even play those games? I guess just preseason. It's essentially a preseason schedule, but I don't know. I hate it. I really hate that part of college football.
I mean, I think you use those 3 games to go into conference play and make sure you're all tuned up. And, there is that part of it. And I do think there is still some room for those games, but, like Miami, when you play a team like Notre Dame and you don't really get a reward for it, what's the point of playing the tougher games either? So it really is a messed up thing on all levels.
Yeah, and if, if the committee, today's going to be really interesting, but if the committee puts Notre Dame in over Miami, like that's ridiculous. That's just
Yeah.
so patently.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: is the and it's all this SEC horse crap. Because they're being like, oh, Notre Dame played Texas A&M close. Has anybody on this committee looked at Texas A&M's schedule? Because they have not beat a single team in the SEC that has a winning record, not one.
No, I'm fully convinced that they don't do in-depth research or look at any of the metrics or even understand who Texas Tech, plays or Texas A&M plays. They're all athletic directors from different schools. They all, hold, some sort of power on this committee. And, this includes Troy Dannon. And, I'm fully convinced that they don't actually watch the games, but they're put in this committee because they have a higher, kind of ranking, if you will, in college athletics. And, it's not a let's put the most knowledgeable football people in charge on this committee. It's a let's get the suits and the athletic directors and all that, on this committee because they're the top dogs at their profession. So, I mean, it's not football watchers. It's just a committee that relies on guesses and names and conference prestige. And there's I guarantee there's zero game watching throughout the course of the regular season because they're all too busy with their other jobs. So I don't know. The committee itself is just a mess.
Well, and somebody, that's been the argument for Notre Dame. Well, they, Miami's, and somebody that came back with an argument. Well, Miami's losses are to unranked teams. Well, okay. I mean, they played an SMU team that was one play away from the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
They lost both of those games by single digits, and they were both 8-4 teams. Okay, so like it's not like they lost to 3-8 Florida, right? And
Yeah.
But you go look. So if you look at Notre Dame's schedule, or you look at Texas A&M, Texas A&M's best win outside of Notre Dame is Missouri. Okay, Missouri, which is 8-4. Missouri has not beaten a single team this year that has a winning record, not one. Their best win is over a 6-6 team they played in the non-conference.
They're always in the top 20 every single year too, and it makes no sense whatsoever.
And Tennessee was the same way. None of these teams, Tennessee should have never been ranked this year. Missouri should have never been ranked, not a single time this year. But they put these teams in the rankings to prop up, Texas A&M and Alabama and all this. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, Notre Dame barely lost at home. But Notre Dame lost to an SEC. Like Texas A&M is the most overrated team in the top 10, and it's not even close. And it's like, so what, you lost at home to a team that's overrated, propped up on a weak schedule. Like, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you played on I could understand if Notre Dame was 11-1 and Miami's 10-2. I understand that. That makes sense to me. But if you have the same record, you have to go head to head. You just have to. And it's not like they beat USC, but what team have they? Like, good teams win on the road, and okay, they beat Pittsburgh on the road, I guess. Whoop-de-freaking-do. So did Miami.
And honestly, same thing with Oregon. They should not be as high as they are. And I'm sorry, I get they're Oregon, and they look at their schedule. Their schedule is a joke too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, really... so James, I want to actually hear from you on this. What type of merit system would you be thinking of? What type of merit system would you want to see, Chris, in terms of?
I don't know. I mean, I honestly feel like we need to go back to. I think we need to get away from the stupid selection committee.
Yeah.
I think we need to. I didn't hate the BCS system at the end, just the way that was the top two, but maybe just use that whole ranking system, and that's how you get people.
I hated it, but now I hate this even more, so I don't know.
Take it out of the, Anyway, let's see. Co's trying to get us back on. How many years in a row have the Huskers been below the preseason? I mean, I would say probably. I'd be surprised if they'd surpassed it since 2016. I mean, it's got to be 2016 because everybody's been, basically since the Adrian Martinez days, they've been predicting us to be like a breakout team. So 10 years in a row, I would say.
I mean, yeah, because Adrian came in what 2018?
2018, yeah. And I mean, 2017, they were fresh off a top 25 season. So I'm sure that their win over under was probably, like 7 or 8.5. But yeah, it's been, I would say, at least a decade, Co. So Yeah, because I mean, what was it this year? Or did they hit it this year? Was it 7.5?
I think it was 7. Yeah, so they did technically hit it.
I think it was. So I think they could. I think they still need one. I think they need one more because they put them at like half. They put like 7. Yeah, so 7.5. So they would. So this would be the first time probably since 2016. Yeah, it is freaking wild. It's hard to. It really is hard to explain like the ineptitude of Nebraska football for the last because you would think like at some point just like you would get lucky and have like a decent season, you know.
Yeah, no, it really is. And when you look at the talent that we've had on the roster, and we just haven't been able to put it together, that is even more mystifying. Because I was looking at some old rosters, and Wandale Robinson, Adrian Martinez, even guys like J.D. Spielman, and then you had a highly touted guy like Omar Manning who just couldn't put things together, and you had a bunch of 4-stars from Florida in 2019 and 2020 that just couldn't put it together. It really is so confusing. They didn't get it.
So, no, I mean, I guess if you're, I was thinking you could count the bowl game, but I guess they're not really, including that into it. So yeah,
I don't know. Bowl game win.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure if that would get you the. I don't bet enough to know. I'm not sure if that, but it's probably the regular season, I guess. I don't know. It's probably
honestly looking at some of these bowl game projections like Utah and Tennessee. I'm like, oof. Like, ugh.
It does seem like they're going to be going to the Las Vegas Bowl. So yeah, Utah. But see, I want that kind of game though. I do want that kind of because it's like to me, I don't want to play a Boston College type team again. Like that was nice last year, but like this team needs to go play a good team and have a good performance. And I feel like that would kind of make them excited, like to play a top 25 team. I would love a chance to end the losing streak against ranked teams. Now, it probably won't happen. Like I get that, but at least it would make it more exciting for me. I don't know about anybody else, how they feel, but it would
no,
make it
because
more
they would get
exciting
shredded by Utah. They would get absolutely destroyed by Tennessee. It would just be more bitching and moaning when they lose 52-10.
Well, I mean, it's what
especially
it is.
without a real defensive coordinator at the moment. I think they're putting Eckler in charge of the defense. I
think Snow's going to be in charge and Eckler's going to help. So
I pray to God that
we'll see.
That actually, you know what? I pray that Phil Snow doesn't do well in the bowl game, so that Matt Rule can actually go hire a defensive coordinator and not promote Phil Snow. That's been my biggest fear since this whole thing began.
Yeah, I have been worried about that too. Yeah, I don't want Phil Snow, but I think Matt Rule knows he can't hire Phil Snow. Like that's just gonna be a bad look if he does that. So we'll see. I mean,
Phil
I don't know, man.
Defenses haven't been terrible, but I don't want him to be the defensive coordinator.
I mean, he's already on staff. Yeah, like I don't know. We'll see though. I mean, the defense comes out and holds Utah to 10 points. Like, I don't know. I think we'll have a coordinator hired by then.
No, let's not do this, Chris. I'm not being spoon-fed sunshine for Phil Snow. I will not do that.
I'm just saying if the results are what the results are, but I do think we'll have a coach hired by then. So
I hope so.
But yeah, it will be interesting with Eckler though to see because here's the thing, Mike Eckler could get another job in a heartbeat if he wanted it. So I'm interested to see if he is allowed to maybe coach linebackers because it sounds like according to Steve Sipple that he does want to coach defense and he did coach linebackers at Tennessee. So I don't know, maybe that's kind of throwing him a bone and trying to. Because I mean, there's some teams that need special teams coaches, and if I needed a special teams coach, he'd be number one on my call list.
Eckler, I would be okay with, but even that, like, I don't know.
I'm not saying it's DC, but I'm saying if they let him coach linebackers. Or something.
Yeah.
Or like
so, would you get rid of Dvorak or make him? Because I actually haven't been too disappointed in Dvorak, but.
We'll see. I do think if there's one coach that's like on the firing line for the defense, it's probably him. Just because, I mean, I feel like Braden would be hard to move on. I mean, unless the new defensive coordinator has like a guy, like Elijah Robinson type, to bring in as the D line coach. Like I feel like, it's pretty. I feel like it'd be pretty unfair to fire Terry Braden at this point. So. And then I guess at the other side of it, the linebackers coach, I feel like if there was a move to be made, I haven't been that thrilled with the linebackers, but I don't know if it's a coach issue or a scheme issue. So I'm assuming you mean you let the man do as he pleases, the defensive coordinator. LOL, he needs to be kept happy. I think you're meaning the defensive coordinator. I'm not sure exactly, Co, if you could clarify. I mean, you do want to let the coach pick your staff for the most part. So I don't know. It does seem like Addison Williams is going to be safe, and then it just depends on who he wants to bring in. But my other part of it too is like if he does want to bring in like you can have so many coaches now. Like it's not. I feel like it's not so limited to. Eckler. Okay, yeah, Eckler. I do agree if he wants to, and he coached it with a high level of success at Tennessee. It's not like
Hmm.
So I feel like maybe he just coaches outside linebackers. I don't know. It depends how the scheme's going to look because I mean, if they bring in this new guy, I feel like they are going to change the scheme. I don't know. I don't want, and again, I don't think scheme matters as much as players and just being able to execute. So I don't know. I mean, like Phil Parker's been running the same scheme for years, and it's it's not like it's anything fancy. You know what you're going to get. It's just a matter of executing it. And some people just cannot, like an underrated aspect of college coaching, I think, is teaching. And some people just are not good teachers. They think that they can call plays well, and that's fine. But in order to call the plays, you have to be able to teach the plays. And so I'm just, I'm not saying that was John Butler's issue, but I think with a lot of guys that come from the NFL, I think that is a problem they run into. Like college players are not NFL players. They can't do things that NFL players can do. And when you're asking them to do things they can't do, as a coach, that's not, you're going to struggle, like that's, I always talk about this, but that's one thing I always thought that Bill Belichick was great at. He knew what his players could do and what they couldn't do. And most of the time he was pretty good at saying Randall Gay, like, I know what Randall Gay can do. You know what I mean? Like he
That's a
can,
name. I forgot about Randall Gay. He was good.
But he could minimize weaknesses. And that's what good coaches do. And it's like with John Butler, he never found a way to minimize the problem that was the run defense. And I feel like as much as it was an issue, and yes, talent was a problem, but I feel like a good coach would have found a way to adjust or do something. And it was just like they just, I felt like after the Minnesota game, I felt like the writing was on the wall. Like he just looked shell-shocked. And it sounds like I don't know what happened on the Iowa game, but when Matt Rule was talking about people being toxic, like he was talking about John Butler. And I think John Butler,
don't tell me my players aren't good enough. He was talking about John Butler.
Yeah, and I think he went beyond that. So yeah, I think that's why this move happened as quick as it did. But man, that was another thing. Are we going to see any other staff changes? Because we're a week past this thing. So it's starting to feel like no. I don't know.
Okay, so
I mean, defense, I think, is going to wait until, I don't think that's going to be solidified until you get, but what's, if moves are going to happen on offense, what are we waiting for?
Offensive line, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, are they waiting for, well, that's what I mean. What are they waiting? If they're going to make a move, I don't think they're going to. I think Rayola's going to be back. That's my opinion.
I'm wondering if Dylan's going to be back.
I think so.
He's at a very tricky point where his stock actually kind of fell a little bit last year between the injury and the inconsistent play. There were times when he was really good, but there were also times when he looked really shaky. So he's not as highly touted a transfer portal prospect as he once was.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think, but if you're looking for a quarterback, I mean, you could do a lot worse, I feel like. So I don't know.
Also, Dominic Rayola needs to kind of let things play out and stop trying to stick his nose in everything. But that's a whole other conversation for another day.
My gut tells me that Rayola is going to be back and that TJ Lateef is going to be gone. That's my gut today.
Which kind of sucks, but I agree with you.
Because here's my logic for it. So when Rayola put that statement out, or whatever, I think it was from the Rayola's. People can argue whatever. Some people want to say it's just fake news. I don't think reporters go around putting out fake news, like personally, but that's fine. If you want to think that, that's fine. However, I think that was like a protective measure from the Rayola camp. And I think people kind of misinterpreted it a little bit. I think it was telling Nebraska, like, you either make Dylan the guy or like this is what is going to happen. So I feel like it was just like, I feel like it was almost kind of a shot across the bow and a warning, like he does have interest. And so if you're not going to make him, like if you're going to make him take part in a quarterback competition, like we'll explore our options elsewhere. That's how I took that message. And so I feel like there's not going to be, I don't feel like you're going to hear any talk of a quarterback competition. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's going to be one. I think if Latif's back, I think Rayola's the guy, and like maybe
Which
TJ.
I don't know if I like necessarily, because Frost did the same. He hitched his wagon to Adrian Martinez, and that inevitably was one of his biggest issues at Nebraska.
Yes, and that's just my read. I mean, I think it's a tough situation. Like, and maybe, you know, I mean, yeah, if TJ plays to a point like in the spring or something where it's hard to ignore, like, I mean, you know, like maybe go back on that promise a little bit. There's not much Dylan can really do at that point, but I feel like that message was like, you either commit to Dylan as your quarterback or we're going to explore our options, because we can go in the portal, get paid, and get somebody else that will bring him in as the starter. You know what I mean? So I feel like Matt's, you know, I don't think he's having a conversation with these quarterbacks being like, hey, we're going to open this thing up and the best man's going to win. I mean, I think he still has to say, like, you know what I mean? You can't really say that per se, like Dylan's going to win this job no matter what, but that's going to be like, he's going to go into the offseason as the starter. And that's, you know, I don't see TJ Latif on
and it's like there's the entire Raiola family holding the program hostage at that point, and that sucks.
Okay, let's see here. Let's get to some questions. So James, there's a D-line player named Jamal Wallace in the portal. A D-line coach could bring him to Nebraska. Wallace is from KC. Another chance to get a player out of the KC area. I'd have to do some research on him. But yeah, they definitely need defensive line. I know Carlon Jones.
I was looking at that.
Entered the portal, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Has he been at USC and Ohio State, or did he like?
No, just
USC.
Just USC, and the guy that James is thinking of, Jamal Wallace, is a junior. He had 4 tackles last year, 2 solo, 2 assisted. Played in 3 games. Played in a couple games last year as well. So, I mean, that could be an option.
Good. Who did he play for?
Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, if you can get some snaps in the SEC, and D-line are always, you know, stats are kind of misleading. You know, Nebraska definitely needs inning eaters too. They need some starter guys, but they need backups who can go in and take some snaps and not like have a massive drop off. You know,
just clog the lanes. That's half the battle.
Yeah, especially in run defense. Yeah, you need guys who can just sit in there and take up 300 snaps of taking up a double team. Not everybody can do it. You know what I mean? It's not fancy work, but you need somebody to do it. It's like the garbage man. You know, you got to get your garbage picked up every week. So, do you guys find it interesting that only one player has entered the portal?
Caden Vermas.
Caden Vermas. I don't know. I feel like they'll probably be more entering this week. I'm not overly surprised. I feel like the dust is just kind of settling, and so I don't know. I feel like we'll learn more about departures. I do think they're going to be some, not like a ton, but I think like the Caden Vermas, some guys like that just haven't really gotten a chance to play. So, you know, it just happens. I don't know if we're going to lose any, you know, any big, you know, Latif would be the one name I'm kind of worried about. I mean, or Raiola, one of those two, quarterback, I guess, would be the biggest name to lose. But outside of that, I mean, I don't know. There's nobody I'm really that worried about, but there's always surprises too. We didn't expect Dante Dowdell to, you know, leap into the portal. So I'm not sure if guys are just kind of like biding their time and trying to see like, you know, what the different offers are going to be. Because once you go in the portal, you know, it's hard to come back. I mean, you know, Emmett did last year, but there's not always that opportunity. So I'm not surprised. I think part of it has to do with it's a little bit later. So I think guys are just kind of, you know, biding their time. But, you know, Monday, bowl practice starts Monday. So either you're there or you're not. I mean, that doesn't, and just if you're there doesn't mean you're going to be there for the bowl game. But if you're not there, I think that'll be pretty eye-opening for who's leaving and who's not.
And TJ is probably not going to practice on Monday, but he should be available to go for the bowl game with that hamstring injury. So that's interesting to watch too. Hopefully he'll be able to go, and if not, we may see Jalen Gramstead.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we can get TJ to, you know, it. So actually, and I did. What's interesting on this, so I was listening to the Husker Online show. I don't know if it was yesterday. I listened to it yesterday. I'm not sure if it was. I think it was broadcast Thursday. Anyway, according to Sean Callahan, their check goes out. They get paid the first week of December, so they've already got paid. So yeah, so they could leave if they wanted to already.
Does EJ play in the bowl? Probably. I wouldn't. At this point, I am done with Nebraska.
When he made his declaration, he was done. So yeah, he won't be. That's
Smart choice.
why he made it when he did, because that was him saying, I'm not coming to bowl practice this week. So yeah, good choice for him. I wanted him back. I I know everybody did, but I can't argue against him. You've only got so many carries in your body, and do you want to give up another 300 next year at Nebraska? I understand the NIL part of it, but at the same time, if you get drafted in the 4th round, like your signing bonus is about $1 million, and then how do you get rich? Like you're not going to get, and I'm not talking about like, money to take care of yourself or live off. Like if an NFL player, how do you get like securely rich for the rest of your life? It's the second contract, right? So,
and also, I believe you can get a pension after 3 years. You could start accruing a pension after 3 years.
Yeah, you need 3. Yeah, you need 3 years, but it's
Which
like, I mean, so Nebraska could probably pay him in a couple $1 million like NIL, but is that going to be that much more than he's going to make, with his rookie deal? And where he's going to cash in, if he ever is going to be, that second contract. And as a running back, you honestly only get like one chance at those, because not many running backs get that like a big third contract. So really, if Emmett Johnson wants to like get paid supremely, he needs to go have like 3 good years in the NFL, sign a lucrative second contract, and that's his one shot, honestly, of like getting $50 million, and that's a tight window. So I understand, like, if you're at your best, like, it really does make sense to go do it right now.
And honestly, his stock is probably never going to be higher than it is right now.
Yeah, because like, I mean, he could do, what's he going to run for 2,000 yards next year? He's not going to move up any higher. Like, NFL teams are going to view him how they view him, and so yeah, he just needs an opportunity.
Plus, the schedule is a gauntlet, so I wouldn't want to risk my legs or potential NFL career on that schedule either.
But yeah, who he reminds me of? My former Green Bay Packers favorite, Aaron Jones. He reminds me a lot of Aaron Jones, and I feel like people are just thinking like, oh, this guy's going to be just a third down back. That's what they said about Aaron Jones. Emmett Johnson's going to be a lot more than that. So I hope one of my teams drafts him. Anyway,
if TJ doesn't play and no EJ, wouldn't the bowl execs take that into consideration when choosing the Huskers?
I don't know why, because Nebraska fans will show up anyway. They don't care. Nebraska fans will show up, and that's all that's all the TV people care about, or these bowl people care about. I mean, they want people in the seats, and the other thing is, like, people will go into the seats, like people will show up to the game, and they'll watch on, and they'll watch on TV. So I mean, that's the thing, is like, whatever happens, like, people will watch on TV. So
for all the complaining about New York being a third world country leading up to the bowl game, there sure as hell were a lot of Nebraska fans in New York City last year.
I mean, it could, for sure. It could get ugly, but they don't, they just don't care. They honestly don't. All they care about is how many people go into the stadium and how much money they make. Like, I mean, some of these bowl games are so, I mean, whatever. It's just, they're not what they were when I was a kid growing up, and that sucks, because it used to actually like mean something, because it used to be hard to get one of these games, and now it's just, I mean, I still want to win, but I do think it would be nice to get to 8-5. I mean, that would be a step forward and that's my thing about it too. Like, if you play a team like Utah that's ranked, at least I feel like at least you have something there, and you're motivated to play. So I don't know. I'm excited about that aspect of it. Hopefully TJ can play, though, because if he's not able to play, it's going to be tough. And running back is going to be, you look at this offense, man, it's going to be an uphill climb, because Emmett Johnson was basically like 35%. He carried the offense this season, even when Raiola was out there. So, it's going to be, but also it's a great opportunity for Isaiah Mosey or, Mekhi Nelson or whoever.
Connor Booth,
Jamarian Parker, all those guys.
I'm very interested to see what Parker does this season, fully healthy.
Yeah, and we look at the last year's bowl game, like, we didn't really talk about Donovan Jones, and he like started in that game and played really well. So that's when Vincent Shavers kind of really truly burst onto the scene he played before, but that's when he made that big sack, forced fumble. So that's the first time we heard of the edge rush, Jordan Ochoa, kind of, he didn't really do a whole lot this year, but anyway, there will be some guys that we haven't seen play a lot this year that'll get to play, and that'll be exciting. Will could get a shot. Honestly, he could, and that's I want that. I think that would make it exciting. At least Nebraska needs to beat somebody like that. So I mean, they're going to have to beat teams like that next year. So why not get started on it now?
I can get behind the bowl game for sure. Just don't try to sell me the crown in March again, and we'll be okay. Speaking of basketball,
we won't be in the crown this year, I don't think.
Creighton tomorrow. I'm excited for Creighton. I think it's going to be a good game, and I think I know they've had their struggles, but it always seems to be a good game when those two teams play. And I believe Hudson Greer is not going to be available for Sunday's game.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about Creighton this year. I know they're not as good as they have been, but yeah, we'll see. And I believe it's in Lincoln this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the women's basketball team, which is also undefeated, I think they're playing Rutgers today. They're opening up Big Ten play today, so that'll be an interesting kind of start for them.
Yeah, no, this basketball game is really interesting for me, just because it's another chance to stay undefeated, but also get that win over Creighton, and because this has been a pretty even series in recent years in terms of wins and losses. But I think this will be another good test for the men.
And you look at their record's not great, but they've their losses. They lost to Gonzaga by 27, and they're obviously a really good team. And they also lost to Iowa State, who's ranked 15th, and Baylor, but they did beat Oregon on a neutral floor by 10. So I mean, it's definitely not going to be an easy win. They always shoot the ball well. They're always coached really well with McDermott. But a little bit lower this year. They're only shooting they're 215th in 3-point percentage this year. So that's a little bit low for them. Yeah, they're not there. And see, I just haven't scouted these guys enough. I haven't looked into my preview yet, but they're I think they might be dead last. Actually, not dead last, but they're 348th in forced turnovers. So that's always something I look at against teams against Nebraska, because turnovers can be a bit of an issue. But this is a team that doesn't shoot the three well, doesn't force turnovers, decent rim protection, but yeah, I mean, and their defense is okay, but yeah, I feel like Nebraska should win this game.
I feel like more than any other years, we match up with Creighton really, really well this year.
Yeah, they're just not as dynamic as they do have a ton of talented players, but and they got the Josh Dix kid from Iowa, and he's been good, but
it wasn't worth all the money they paid him.
Yeah, I mean, he's making 1.9 threes per game, scoring 12. I feel like Price Sanford's been just as good. So
no, yeah. So and I was kind of worried that we missed out on Josh Dix, but when you look at who they lost this season, Brian Kalkbrenner, Stephen Ashworth, Pop Isaacs, Jeremiah Neal, Frederick King, Mason Miller, those are all big names for the program, and so this might be one of those years where it's just a rebuilding year. I won't miss seeing Kalkbrenner get every single foul call the minute he's breathed on.
Although didn't we dominate him last year?
We did, but he was just so annoying to have to guard, because then we would kind of hem in on him, and then they would pop it out to Stephen Ashworth, and the 35-year-old senior would make 3-pointers, because that's what he did, and it would make life miserable.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of some of their highly touted recruits, like Isaac Trout or whatever. He was a top 50 guy, and he's scoring 5 points a game. He doesn't even start.
Kind of mystifying a little bit. They're not developing like they usually do.
And they're they got 2 of the 3 guys of the Iowa guys, Owen Freeman and and then McAndrew being hurt. Yeah, that does hurt. I mean, he's one of their other talent. He is the highest ranked player on their team, so that does hurt. But yeah, that'll be interesting. And then of course we got volleyball today too. So one thing about the basketball team, it does suck losing Connor Esigian for the season, but it sounds like Ugi Urasefagis will be back. So I'm pretty excited about that.
And I've been excited with Braden Frager and also Kel Jacobson. So I feel like Frager and Jacobson should be able to kind of offset the loss of Esigian along with Ugi. So a very deep team. Credit to Fred Hoiberg there.
Yeah, and this is when we might see Kendall Blue. We saw Jared Garcia,
right,
I think, in the Winthrop game, and he kind of turned the tide. Honestly, they were kind of struggling with Winthrop, and he came in and I think he hit a 3-pointer, made some nice plays. So they've got they've got a lot of guys on this team who have played in different roles, various roles. So yeah, I think they're good. And man, right now they're seated pretty high, and it's good spot to be in if they can win. That. This game is important, because if you get 11-0, in the non-conference, then really all you got to do is basically 10-10. If you go 10-10, the Big Ten, you're golden, in my
a tough
opinion.
conference.
It is tough, and that's not going to be easy to do. But anyway, let's
especially
see.
Michigan. I was looking at some of Michigan stats today. I'm like, holy shit, I don't want to play Michigan at all. They are wagon.
They're really good. We'll see if they can. We'll see if they peak too early though, because I mean, you don't hang banners for
I mean, we did last year.
That's true. Do you guys agree with media thinking Nashville is location, or the staff think? I mean, I don't know. I trust. I know some people don't like Sean Callahan, but I think his information's pretty good, and
I don't mind Callahan.
He's saying Las Vegas, so I don't know. I trust him.
There's only a few I don't really like of Nebraska media members. I won't mention them in case a job opportunity comes up. I don't want to burn my hypothetical bridges, but I get why some fans don't like our media, and I get why some fans don't like us. But that's the beauty of it all.
But I agree. I guess I agree with the staff. I don't know. It seems like I think Nebraska probably has a decent idea, based on conversations with bowl representatives and stuff. But I think either game would be fine. Honestly, I would be happy either way. I don't really care about the destination so much as the opponent. I want to play a quality opponent. So it seems like either way that's going to happen.
Think of it this way, Nebraska fans: the more Nebraska sucks at football, the better vacation destinations you get. I mean, Nashville or Vegas, I'd be happy either way. So, I mean, maybe you want them to lose. Maybe you want them to go 6-6 next year, and maybe we'll get a bowl game in, I don't know, Florida or something.
I don't know. I think the last game in the bowl pecking order for the Big Ten is the old Motor City Bowl. So I think if you're I don't think you want to go to that one. Detroit, that's not a destination.
No.
Then you get to play a MAC team in Detroit. That's never fun.
Yeah, maybe not then. Yeah.
That's like where Minnesota gets to go a lot, or like Rutgers, or
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's the Las Vegas Bowl will be fine. I mean, it's the day before December 31st, so I mean, it would be a fun game, I feel like. But yeah, I think Nashville would be fine too. I think that Music City Bowl is a really good bowl game. So yeah, to me the destination doesn't matter as much as the result. So that's where I'm at.
I mean, to me the result doesn't even matter. Our starting quarterback's out. We have no defensive coordinator. Our second string quarterback might not even play.
The thing is here's a scenario for you. Like, what if what could suck is TJ Lateef could go out and, lead us to our first ranked win, and then he could go hit the portal like 3 days later, because then his stock would never be higher. You know what I mean? Right. So like, it's like, oh my God, why do these things have to? I mean, maybe he'll stay. Like, maybe he'll just stay. I don't know. But
I mean,
don't slam other teams on going. Nebraska would have liked Detroit for many years in a row. I mean, you're right. I was just saying, like, if we're,
I don't think anybody would like to go to Detroit in the winter, whether it's other teams, Nebraska. Like, I wouldn't.
But I mean, I think you say they would have been happy to go to the bowl game to go to Detroit, which is true. I mean, we would have. Yeah, I would have been happy to go to the Motor City Bowl, and some of those seasons we went 5-7 or 3-9 or whatever. So yeah, you're right.
What they really need to do is start that Purdue transfer, avoid injury with TJ, and
just pack it in for the bowl game.
Well, I don't know. If you're gonna see what you have, there's no better opportunity than this bowl game, honestly.
Yeah, the Lateef thing is interesting to me because, like, I don't know if he played well enough to get interest right now, but maybe. I mean, if some teams are really quarterback desperate, and it depends how much he wants to play. I mean, because I do think he is in line to start, though, if they can convince him to wait for like one more year. I think he is. I don't think Trey Taylor's going to be ready. You don't want to start a true freshman if you don't have to. I mean, I think Michigan's a good example of that.
Well, I mean, Bryce Hunter was not terrible.
No, he's not terrible. He just but you look at the Ohio State game, he was awful. I mean, and a lot of people want to blame the coaches, and it's like, well, if you go back and look at the film, in one of their first drives, he had a dude wide open up the seam route, and he threw a check down. He just was not seeing it. And maybe that was Matt Patricia. I don't know what, he just wasn't ready for that moment because he has never played before, and they could have done some better things with him too. But I guess my point with Trey Taylor, if you have to play him, I'm not saying he's not good enough, but I just think it's better if you have the chance to redshirt that guy if you can, and then do I think the Julian Sain route's a lot better than the Bryce Underwood route.
Marcos Tavalia. I forgot his name, but Marcos Tavalia. There we go.
Tavalia. There we go.
Let's start Marcos. Let's start Quentin Ives. Let's see if
that's probably who should start. Like honestly, if TJ can't start, that's probably who should start is Tavalia. Not because like like it's fine for Gramstad, but like at least let Tavalia play, and then you can figure out if he's worthwhile at all.
Yeah, because then you can kind of trim your roster a little bit before the portal.
So anyway, it'll be interesting. We'll know tomorrow night, regardless, as the playoff rankings. So what's your before we go, since we don't have Nebraska, we could do Nebraska predictions for Creighton. So what's your prediction on that one?
Nebraska will beat Creighton and will have a higher 3-point percentage than the Blue Jays.
I'm gonna say they beat Creighton too. So what? Let's do some conference championship game predictions before we go to. Who do you got winning the big ones today?
So just so the viewers know, who do we got today? We have
Ohio State, Indiana, 1 versus 2. Who you taking there?
Ohio State.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm going to go Ohio State too, which is really So I do have I got the Heisman vote, and I don't know who I'm going to vote for, but this game's going to make a big impact on it.
You get the Heisman vote. That's so cool.
I feel like Julian Sain might win it, and I feel like it's hard to argue against him, but he's like the 4th best player on his own team.
Yeah,
Jeremiah Smith. You can't look at me in the straight face and tell me that Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs aren't more impactful players than him.
I would honestly go Jeremiah Smith, but
yeah,
but it's a quarterback award, and that's just kind of
no. It's like was Jeremiah Smith. I mean, like Julian Sain got the touch. Like they got the 4th down touchdown last week. It was like that was all Jeremiah Smith. Like he juked 2 Michigan guys out of their shoes, and Julian Sain had pressure. I just feel like there was 50 quarterbacks.
It's like putting Mac Jones at Alabama. He was really good, but he also had Devonta Smith, Henry Ruggs. Yeah.
But didn't Devonta Smith win the Heisman though?
He did.
Yeah. So maybe if Jeremiah Smith, I'm not. Maybe if he hadn't gotten hurt this year, he would have enough. Because it's he doesn't even have 1,000 yards receiving, but he's also got Carnell. I kind of feel like Carnell Tate's better than Julian Sain too. And Ohio State really should win the national title this year. They're incredible.
Oh, one of the things we can talk about because it impacts Big Ten a little bit is Brian Hartline to USF.
That'll be interesting.
He can recruit the hell out of South Florida with all that receiver talent.
And then my guy, the Soup Man, finally gets promoted.
I know, it's yay! Penn State fired an 8-4 coach for another 8-4 coach. That made 0 sense whatsoever. It's Penn State. Come on.
It does feel like they traded
him, but it's just such a Penn State hire. I don't know.
I don't love him for. I mean, I don't know if he's that. He'll do what James Franklin did. I think. But
so they're gonna fire him again after he doesn't win a national championship in a few.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's his same issue. So I agree, but. Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Terry Smith. So.
Yeah. So, but yeah, who knows what that means for Jim Knowles? Maybe he'll stick around. So maybe that would mean. Yeah.
Part of my hope. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it just doesn't seem like I don't know. Doesn't seem like Nebraska's going to get Jim Knowles, which is
no.
So
I thought it was a pipe dream anyway, but part of me wants Indiana to get blown out 56-10, so we can all stop these Chris Signetti comparisons. Because
we'll see.
Fans get the lotion and the tissues out for Kurt Signetti. So if they get blown out 67-10 or whatever today, then that will kind of make me happy in a vindictive way. But anyway, Ohio State. I have the first one. What's the next one?
Let's see. We got Alabama, Georgia. Who you got there? Alabama won the regular season game.
Alabama, but it's going to be a muddy slugfest, and I'm here for it.
I'm gonna say Georgia wins this one, and just because I want to see the committee squirm, so I'm gonna say Georgia, and I'm gonna say they do it by double digits, so just enough to make them talk about it. But
okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay,
that's probably more wishful thinking than anything, but I do think Georgia's pretty good. Let's see, what's the other one? We got Duke and Virginia, which is a really kind of interesting game. Yeah. Our old boy Danny Kaelin, backup QB for the Cavs this year.
And it's kind of weird that we don't see Miami in the ACC championship game at all whatsoever. But anyway, probably that actually might be a pretty even game. So I'm gonna say Virginia.
I'm gonna say Virginia, just hopefully that it works out for the college football playoff system, because if Duke wins, then we're gonna have the ACC might miss the playoff completely. So who knows? It's gonna be really interesting.
Well,
You got
honestly,
James
they
Madison in
deserves
there.
it with the way that they screwed up the rankings with Miami this year, and then so they reap what they sow.
The last one, which might have the most intrigue, it's 4th ranked Texas A&M, or excuse me, Texas Tech against 11th ranked BYU. Now every single guy on the college football playoff committee seems to be rooting for BYU to lose handily. So then they can drop them, have Miami and Notre Dame next to each other.
Yeah,
but
it's so gross. It's gross.
It's gonna be, but what if BYU wins? Then it's just gonna. I kind of want BYU to win, so there's total, just absolute chaos.
Yeah, no, whatever this Notre Dame push is, I never understand whether it's screwing over Miami, completely being in the rankings when they, quite honestly, don't necessarily deserve to be. Whatever it is, I mean, it's just annoying. But I do have BYU today and or Sunday, and I think that putting them in the college football playoff will be good for the game.
I do. I think Texas A&M or Texas Tech will beat them. I think they're just too good, and then so they'll drop out. And then what I think is going to happen, I think they'll make the right. I think they'll make the right move. I think Miami will drop. Alabama will stay where they're at. Miami and Notre Dame will be ranked right where they're ranked. They won't punish Bama for losing the SEC championship game because they love their little SEC so much. And
especially last year with the way they put Bama.
Because it'd be funny because SMU made it after losing, and they kept so they kind of have to do that with Alabama. I feel unless they get beat 30-0,
Yeah.
So that's why if it was a 17-point game, I think it'd be kind of interesting because then you'd have
more proof that beginning season games don't really count with the way FSU beat Alabama early on, and people were like, "Oh, we want Tony White back."
Yeah, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
So I think Texas Tech will get in. I think that Notre Dame will be left out, and that's what I hope should happen. So it'd be Miami, and then the two at-large teams would be Tulane, or the last two auto bids would go to Tulane and Virginia. So they would be your 11 and 12 seeds. Miami would be your 10. Alabama would be your 9. So it would be some pretty interesting matchups. So your top 4 seeds probably would be, if that's how the results go, I would say it'd be Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, Texas Tech 3, and Indiana 4 is my guess.
We should put Miami in the Big 10.
They might be. I mean, make it the Big 20. This is what I've been saying though. Make it the Big 20. Have 2 divisions.
Yeah, bring back divisions. Yep.
Or my thing is okay, do this and say, if you had a division of 10 teams, if everybody played each other, make that division, send that division champion to the playoff, and do that with take all these, get rid of all these group of 5 conferences and have 10 conferences of 10 teams. And if you're not a top 100 team, then sorry, go to the FCS. You're just wasting time.
Yeah.
And then play a round robin, and those are you have 10 guaranteed berths, and then you have 6
Nebraska
large
be relegated to the FCS in that would we be looking at FCS Nebraska if that was the case? I was thinking about it. I don't know.
We make too much money, thankfully, but we're too much of a cash cow. Because at least with Nebraska, they're if someone beats up on Minnesota, no one's going to watch. But at least if Nebraska gets their ass whipped, people will still watch.
That's our only saving grace is the fan base, and that what a great metaphor for just the program in general.
So, all right, you guys. Well, let's wrap it up there. Hopefully, this weekend works out for Nebraska volleyball team taking on San Diego tonight. So let's beat them in advance.
ESPN too, or ESPN?
ESPN Plus, unfortunately. So ESPN hates volleyball. So apparently
ABC loves volleyball more than ESPN does.
ESPN hates volleyball and hockey equally.
They can't stand hockey, and it makes me so mad. Hockey's such a great game.
I wish that, I pray that at some point, Fox or NBC or somebody takes away the non, the smaller championships away from, because they just don't care, and it's just so bad. So anyway,
and even college hockey, I feel because your Wolverines are tops in the country right now.
Yeah, number 1. Yeah,
I mean, I feel college hockey doesn't get enough love, especially Big Ten hockey. I wish Nebraska had a D1, a Big Ten college hockey team. I would be into that so much, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so catch the Huskers on ESPN Plus. I believe that the basketball game's on Fox tomorrow. I haven't double checked that. So yeah, should be a fun weekend for the Huskers. We got trucking toward the playoffs in the NFL, some college football games. So we'll know the bowl destination on Sunday. So we'll have plenty to talk about on Monday, I'm sure. So if you haven't already, you guys, please do us a huge favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get into the comment section. And as always, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.